How's it going, guys? You know, I wish I could say happy Sunday, but I can't. Once again, today, in the land of Israel, another Jew was shot by one of our enemies. And he is an enemy. They are an enemy. Make no mistake, guys. You know, it's a concept we know from the Torah. They're gonna be the enemy until Mashiach comes. Until just before Mashiach comes, actually. So, on a practical note, you know, guys, I've been there. I've been to the place called Huwara. I've driven through that town. You guys might ask yourself, why would a Jew drive through that town? Why would a Jew drive directly through a busy kind of thoroughfare of an Arab village, somewhere, you know, in what people call the West Bank, or in this case, it's the Shomron, Samaria. Why would he do that? Why would a Jew do that? In this case, a Jew would do that because he has to go home to the place that he lives. He either lives in Har Bracha, he can live in Karnei Shomron, he can live in Emmanuel, he can live in Kedumim, he can live in Elon Moreh, he can live in a few places, Itamar, 777, Sheva Sheva Sheva. I'm just naming random places up there, guys. Yivot Olam. So that's why he would drive through that area. The question I ask, guys, is not, it's not that question. It's not why do they have to drive through that area. The question that I ask is, why are there not normal highways like the one I'm driving on? I don't know if you could call it so normal, but it's a highway. It's got 3 lanes. I'm not really driving through you know, a residential area. It's away from, I mean, it passes through, but it's yeah, you see, like, around me there's like barricades, you know. I'm not passing. Let's say if my enemies were here, I wouldn't be passing directly by their houses. There's like walls here, right? So you guys might ask the question, why are Jews forced, in order to get home, right? Why are Jews being forced to pass through what I like to call the den of orcs from Lord of the Rings just to get home? Guys, I mean, at best, a Jew has to basically be holding onto his gun when he passes through that area, and hope that, you know, he doesn't get a giant boulder thrown on his car, or shot. Excuse me, or shot in the face, which is what happened today. And the guy is now fighting for his life, Alexander David Stern. Yeah, a friend is saying, when people say they want you dead, you gotta take them at their word. Yeah, listen, guys, I was just watching a video of a guy, I don't know if you guys know this guy in UK, Israel Advocacy Movement, this guy, Jewish guy, and he goes and he interviews Muslims in the UK, in London, I guess. And he found a Muslim, he found a Libyan guy. The Libyan guy started saying, you know, when we get, he goes, see, notice, when they're outside of the Middle East, you know, they say a lot of things, they talk tough, but they don't do anything. They don't dare do anything, because they know that the society, even the leftist society where they're living, these guys are not going to put up with their crap, right? They're not going to put up with their homophobia and all their troglodyte and all their orc behavior, right? So he goes, when we get to Palestine, I'm going to burn you from the bottom to the top. I'm going to burn you. And then the guy goes, first of all, it's not going to happen. Second of all, can I ask you a question? He goes, how many Jews are in Libya? He's like, 0. And Jews, don't come to Libya. We're going to cook you like macaroni. He goes like this. He's like, I'm going to cook you like macaroni in Libya. Ladies and gentlemen, these people want us dead everywhere. Everywhere we are, they want us dead. The only reason they don't make it happen, or at least not all the time, in places like America, in places like specifically Jews. I mean, they do target us. We've been targeted, right? Because they know that the leftists, or I don't know, the media and the establishment are so busy being obsessed with right-wing anti-Semitism, right? They don't need to do anything. They don't need to do anything. Why go out of your way to kill a Jew in America or even in Europe when supposedly, allegedly, some random guy is doing it and right-wingers are being blamed? It's not a Muslim doing it. Once in a while it's a Muslim, but most often than not it's not a Muslim, right? It's some random guy. Sometimes it's another group, I don't want to say who. They also live in Crown Heights. Not Chabad, the other group that lives in Crown Heights, okay? So, yeah, guys, these guys talk tough, but when they're in their land, see, this is the irony of the whole thing. When they're in their land, or they're in the Middle East, they're doing what they're doing to us, right? And then the people that would be really annoyed by their behavior, or are annoyed by their behavior, and by their homophobia and all the rest of it, see that, they go, yeah, free Palestine. Ladies and gentlemen, you understand what's going on here? You understand what's going on here? So that's on one aspect. That's that theater, so to speak, of operations. My friends, the other theater of operations is you know, honestly, guys, I really hope that we don't have another riot in Huwara. Why? Because it would just be counterproductive. Not because I don't think that it should happen. I think it should happen, but I think it would just be counterproductive. Right? The reason we had one before, when the two brothers were killed, is because Jewish people, Israelis, don't feel like the government has their back. You know, people are busy protesting judicial reform. The government is busy paying attention to the people who are protesting judicial reform. And what they're not busy doing is making sure that the attack doesn't happen to begin with. You know, I love how they come out and say, every time there's an attack, oh, this will not be tolerated, we're doing operations and our anti-terror units are taking care of the problem. You know, as my friend likes to say, I'm taking care of it. No, you're not taking care of it. You know how you take care of it? You stop it before it happens. Taking care of it is not, you know, going and killing the guy after you already killed somebody is not taking care of it. Now you just continue the tit for tat. Ladies and gentlemen, in order to really take care of it, you need to do what Jonathan Pollard, Shlita, yes, I call him Shlita, my teacher, one of my teachers, says to do, which is basically flatten that den of orcs. What do I mean by den of orcs? I'm talking about the town of Huwara. Don't kill anybody. He even said it, Pollard. Don't kill anybody. Don't harm a hair on anybody's head. Come in. Listen, guys. I don't know if you guys ever driven through Huwara. You guys ever hear the skit by Dave Chappelle where he talks about, you know, taking a limo through the ghetto, and he's like, what do you have over there? Liquor store, gun store, liquor store, gun store, liquor store, gun store. Guys, you know what you have in Huwara? Obviously not liquor stores, because, you know, mechanics, like engine shops, and butchers. And sometimes the cows' heads are hanging on the engine, you know, the hooks that hold the engine blocks. It's basically one and the same. Sometimes the butcher is the mechanic, and vice versa. Guys, in the words of Tim Robbins from Austin Powers, when they said, Mr. President, are you suggesting that we blow up the moon? And you know what he said? He goes, would you miss it? Would you miss it? Guys, this is the Middle East. You have to show people what is what. We're not we're not here. We're not like people who wake up with violence. We're not violent people. We're not people who are looking for trouble. But if someone keeps doing the same thing over and over and over and over, we are engaging in insanity. Doing the same thing in return, or as a result of, or in retaliation of, or thinking that we're solving, expecting a different result. No, the result is always the same. They continue. And of course, we have our leftist friends that say, "Oh, of course, what do you think?" And then they show like how Israeli army pesters some of these young kids. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think? Of course, I wonder why this happens. Ladies and gentlemen, I want leftists to answer me riddle me this, Batman. What happened in 1929 that precipitated the massacre of yeshiva students in Hebron? What did the yeshiva students do? We didn't even have an army in 1929, ladies and gentlemen. We didn't even have any of these groups. We barely had any of these groups that were fighting the British. We've hardly had them. It was just a bunch of people living as pioneers, a couple of guys with guns. That's basically it. My friend is saying nothing happens without Hashem's supervision. Of course, that's true. Of course it's true. We have to ask Hashem, why did you allow this to happen? That's a different discussion. That's our own Hashbonus with Hashem. Of course. Goes without saying. Of course. But with that said, guys, I mean, it's a mitzvah. It's actually a mitzvah. It's a directive, let's say, in the Gemara, in the Talmud. If you know somebody's planning to kill you, what are you supposed to do? You have to get up and kill them first. Ladies and gentlemen, in 1967, you know the irony of the whole thing? People who were supposedly anti-Torah, anti-religious, preempted. They knew that somebody's coming to kill them, namely the 5 Arab armies. In this particular case, Egypt was supposed to be first. They preempted it, and they took care of business, what needed to be done. Afterwards, they made all kinds of, caca and mistakes and all these things. They gave away a bunch of land. They gave away the Temple Mount. But prior to that, these so-called anti-religious people did what needed to be done. My friends, we're not doing it. Now we have a supposedly religious government. They're not doing it. They're demolishing homes. They're, I don't know, whatever, doing all kinds of stuff to keep it going. You're only really infuriating these people. They're gonna and fueling their fire, which they already have to begin with, and now you're fueling it even more. I'm not saying we're causing this. I'm just saying if it's already there, we're making it even worse. What we can do, guys, is make these people afraid of us. Right now, they're not afraid. Even if we retaliate, they're not afraid, guys. Because all they see is retaliation. Guys, if you ever see a hockey game, you guys ever see a guy who instigates a fight, right? And the guy who retaliates against them, do you think that the guy who instigated the fight, the goon who instigated the fight against the guy who retaliated, is scared of anybody on the team that retaliated against them, including the guy, much less the guy who retaliated? You think he's scared of him? No, he's the goon. He initiated it. Guys, you know how you neutralize that goon? You send another goon at him, and you beat the crap out of him to neutralize him. And then, at the very least, he's not going to start up with any of your team, your regular non-fighter guys, your teammates, right? Maybe he's just going to have a one-for-one, with the goon, and even then he's going to hesitate to start a fight. It's going to have to be orchestrated, it's going to have to be premeditated. You guys ever watch hockey? Guys, I mean, it's the only solution. Ladies and gentlemen, we live in the Middle East. As Mordechai Kedar says, welcome to the Middle East. Welcome to the Middle East, guys. And as for these guys who sit in UK and wherever they are, threatening Jews to their face and saying, when we get to Palestine, we're going to burn you from bottom to the top. Ladies and gentlemen, you understand that these people are big talkers, right? You understand that. And all it takes is just to do what needs to be done with them, right? And no one's gonna say a peep. Even the people who are free Palestine, these white girls in these Western countries, who love Arab guys so much, and there's a reason for that. We, Frank and I speak about it all the time. It's a self-hatred, but they basically want Arab men give them the masculinity that they so seek. It's the same thing with other guys, other types of guys, not white guys. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, the solutions are very simple. They don't look good, but they're very simple. Okay? And if we're sitting around and we're claiming that we have a supposedly right-wing government, then we have to act like our government has to act like a right-wing government. Not like, some just appeasing kind of, I can't even call it leftist. Even a leftist government would probably do more than this. I don't know, guys. It's gonna come a point, from what I could see in Israel, there's gonna come a point where people are just gonna get fed up with this. They're really gonna get fed up with this. And again, as I said before, the only thing that's really gonna mitigate any of this is when, unfortunately, people realize that they both fell victim to the same things, and it wasn't terrorism, it was something else. I'm not gonna say what. You know what I'm talking about. And left-wing people took it, right-wing people took it, Arabs took it, everybody took it. Not everybody, but most people took it. And I foresee that this is the only thing that's gonna make everybody realize that, so to speak, we're all on the same team and we're all part of the human race, as it were. But short of that, guys, this is gonna continue unless we come in and basically say, guys, the town of Huwara, this is an ex-parrot. The town of Huwara is no more. Okay? That's the only way we're going to solve this, guys. Or you build a highway. You actually build a highway that you wanted to build, which was stopped by Merav Mikhaeli. You build a highway and you have a normal, you see 3-lane highway, like normal people, like a normal country, developed country supposedly, OECD. And so, and we move on. Life gets a little bit easier with our cousins. Anyway, guys, all right. Talk to you soon.